check, mic check. It's been about a minute. Good to see you. Happy Wednesday. Happy high top, boys and girls. Good evening, good afternoon, and welcome back to another fantastic and, of course, the best day of the week. Good to see you. And, of course, we've got a jam-packed show. We've got a Gator legend joining us today. Cannot wait to talk to him, pick his brain about this Gator football team, what he's thinking, what he's feeling, what he's expecting. Then we'll dive into a little bit of the player world. We're going to talk to one of the linemen's pops. We'll save it unless you don't know who it is. If you're on Twitter, you already know who it is, but we'll keep a little telltale sign. DJ Lagway updates, anonymous coaches, praising the Florida Gators. We got the voicemail hotline. It's going to be a good one. So sit back, relax, put smiles on your face. Let's have ourselves a show. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our co-host for the evening, Mr. David Swolder. Quiz, everybody. Look at David's got the good lighting on, the glasses, looking good, feeling good. What's up, big dog?
Man, oh man, we've got Gator legends, Gator future legends, parents on this show. I mean, what else can you ask for on a Wednesday and the greatest day of the week? High top, baby. Let's get it. Let's go.
It is, in fact, the best day of the week. We didn't do a show on Monday, given the fact that it was Memorial Day, so I feel like I've been tuned off for about a minute. Although we had our Monday mashup show Tuesday morning, that show is just different. It's a morning show. It doesn't have the same vibe as our live shows on Monday, Wednesday. But let's dive right into it. Don't want to keep this legend waiting any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, Gator man himself, Ben Troop, joins us. What's going on, Ben? How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Listen, man, let me tell you something. You guys gonna have to get security. I be following you guys during the year. The trash talk will be coming at y'all, not from y'all, even though y'all don't duck no smoke. I've already had my one-on-one with Steven, Steven Harris, and I told Steve, think I'm finna, have a come to Jesus moment. I said, man, enjoy yourself, man. Like, we are the defenders of the orange and blue, even though we can be critical of the orange and blue. But if you got on the wrong, what's wrong? Coming at you. But it's great to be on, man. Great to be on.
It is, man. And look, it's an interesting world to navigate through. It's something that I've had to learn, weaving and wobbing and throwing a couple fists here and there. It makes it fun. But yeah, we may need to get some guards from time to time, depending on what game we're at and depending on how the season's feeling. If we're winning, though, Ben, I'm telling you right now, all is good. All is good in the neighborhood if them boys are winning. That's all we need them to do.
Yeah. And listen, I know we talked a little bit off air before. I mean, Florida, we have such, I like to call it realistic expectations, because no matter what, we expect us to be good, no matter who's under center, who's coaching. But we got a younger by the name of DJ, and I know he got endorsement deals, and he's raising money for his foundations, but he got a receiving core, ladies and gentlemen. The law offices of Wilson and Wilson, please step up. Looking forward to see that. I'm just. You know what's crazy? I'm just finally happy to have a stable, calm offseason. That's it. Stable and calm.
Hey, look, I like that. The law offices of Wilson and Wilson. I would have never thought of that one. And I usually come up with some of these with some of these lines, and I could have never thought of that. And you know what? When we go out, actually, I hide behind Stephen Harris. Nobody really sees me anyway. So go out there.
He's a big man.
Where's Smolder at? Oh, wait. He's behind Steve Harris.
Oh, yeah, man. Listen, and Steve is physically intimidating, but Steve knows at the end of the day, I told Steve, I said, listen, man, we done got, we represent them early 40s now, man. So, you can swing on somebody, but if you miss your rotator cuff, it ain't gonna survive. I'm telling you. And you missed him. And listen, not promoting no violence on here. I'm just saying, the world of podcasting and being a media personality has changed, because people are showing up to the event for two reasons: because they are fans and because they trolls. And sometimes we get them mixed up. So but it's all good. It's all love.
Yeah. And you see what the good part is like, I'm in my 40s too. I'm not a violent guy anyway. Like, so if I swung, it would hurt. But like at the same time, like I don't really get mad. I don't really mind the trolling. You can come at me. I don't care.
Well, see, you know what, David? I'm gonna have to. I don't get mad either like that. It's just the fact that, like, you don't want the troll to think that they won that argument. It's like the petty side, and you're like, what did you say? It's that. It's not so much that you care. It's that they don't think we've been trolling for. I said, dude, I'm I'm a veteran in the trolling game now. I know how to do, but you know what it is? We're not really trolling with what we're saying back. It just sounds like we trolling because
Yep.
that's what it is. It's like Miami fans want to come at me, right? I said, listen, man, I'm gonna see y'all in Charlotte for the ACC championship game. Oh, that's right. Y'all ain't going to Charlotte, and they get mad at me. They be like, Ben, oh, you just mad because y'all in the SEC championship game? I go, well, we know what the SEC championship game is. Do y'all know what the SEC championship game is? It's in Charlotte, right? And the lady goes, it's in Charlotte, right? I go, is it? I'm just saying. I mean, and we're not even going. Listen, this is a family show. We're not even going to talk about the boys over there on the Panhandle. Because good God,
they haven't said much. They've been quiet. They've kind of understood their role. What you just said there reminded me. I was listening to comedian Shane Gillis, and he talks about Trump and how he's a great debater because when somebody says something, he argues like a 5-year-old. He goes wrong, wrongo. I feel like that's how some of these trolls are. You just say something and they hit you with that, and you're like, "What do you mean I'm wrong?" It's like, doesn't even make.
Oh yeah. They don't. What is it? So nowadays, when it comes to college athletics or whatever, people be saying something like people are saying, I got, guy was telling me like, Ben, do you ever think UCF could be on the same level as Florida? And I said no. It was like you ain't even think about it. I said UCF that won the national championship back in the day, yeah, no, because if the fact that y'all took Mickey Mouse and them hamburger helper hands he had out there, and y'all called the NCAA and said, dude, we won a national championship. The NCAA said, they said, you going to recognize it? The NCAA said, yeah, because we got a parade. Yeah, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, it's stuff like that. And then USF, it's like I said, I'm just happy that we won the national championship in basketball. Put us back where, we need to be. And it's such a validation because, I'm from Georgia. And I live back in the state of Georgia now. And these Georgia fans, I got told, well, Ben, you better be lucky y'all winning the basketball. And I'm like, what do you mean you better be lucky? Like, what does that even mean? I said, well, at Florida, we do this crazy thing to where we root for our team no matter what, no matter who's playing, no matter what season. Because in Georgia, the lady says, oh, so you telling me you don't root for Duke? No, I don't.
No.
She said, you don't root for Duke during basketball season? I said, did I go to Duke? She goes, so you have to go to Duke? I said, no, you don't have to go to Duke to root for Duke. But if you go to Georgia, you shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's the craziest thing ever. And I got family members. My family members cut down the middle. We have Georgia, have Florida. And to my Florida Gator faithful in my family, they're not invited to the family reunion. They've been blocked off the family group text. No one wants to really talk to them because they calling us arrogant. They saying y'all act like y'all ain't never won nothing. I said, no, we not act like we ain't never won nothing. We just don't know what it's like to not win it. Y'all ain't never won it. So, yeah.
That's how I've been operating. Like honestly, I got to the point where it's like you don't deserve my time, and so it's been a lot easier dealing with these trolls when you just realize they don't deserve our breath. But Ben, this is awesome. I do want to pick your brain and get your thoughts. So, what's up?
So what an introduction.
I love it. I love it. I want to get into, man, your thoughts on this team. We were talking a little before the show, kind of and you said now our expectations, what they are, what they probably should be. You've been following this team longer than I have, but obviously the tenure of Napier. And I mean, everybody, not just the Gator faithful, are really feeling pretty positive of this team. What how close you are, how you feeling?
I feel very, very optimistic because the one thing you have to have, the three things I think you got to have in college football to win, you got to have a coach that's been there for some time. You got to have a culture that's either being built or has been built, and you got to have a quarterback. We got all three. Now the culture, I get it, is always being built, no matter what, right? I don't think you ever cement your culture. I think culture to me is what your team is when they're not doing well. Well, we talked about this before the show. This is the first calm offseason I think we've had since Billy Napier's been the head coach. Like just a calm, but like ain't no headlines. And the biggest headline, and I give Billy Napier this much credit, when you got a high-profile quarterback and player like DJ Lagway, and you have to manage his injury during the spring. I give Billy Napier a lot of credit. A lot of coaches wouldn't have handled it like that, but DJ helps right? DJ helps. And like I said, the biggest question mark just got answered. When will he be healthy? Well, I know he's on the throwing schedule. I think he's throwing like 3 days a week now. I am confident about this team in 2025 because of what they was able to endure in 2024. A schedule like that, Graham Mertz gets hurt. DJ is playing quicker than he should. I remember the look on those guys' face from Athens when it is 20-20, 6 minutes left in the game, and DJ's on the sideline. That's culture, people. And I just know that this year we ain't sneaking up on nobody. Same schedule, only we just added USF instead of UCF. Got to go to Miami, got to go Texas A&M, got to go, to LSU, got to go to Kentucky. I'm not afraid for 2 reasons. The quarterback has weapons, and the defense, they veterans, man. You got a lot of veterans on that D-line. You got, listen, Kermani McClain, listen, man. Everybody had a lot to say when he came from Colorado, right? Not in the healthiest place, not in the most positive place. But Florida is a place that where people want to come. They want to play here. They see what we building. They see what we doing. Yes, ain't no wins, no losses yet. But I'm gonna say this: we ain't scared of nobody. We respect everybody. But we coming, man, because I think they playing for Billy Napier. I think they believe in him, and Billy Napier got to, I don't want to call it an unfair shake. You have Florida, man. It's not gonna be fair, but I like our chances, guys. From what we did in recruiting, from what we bringing back, this receiving core, I'm doing my best to stay calm, man. God, I am. I'm like, just calm down. I already saw the law offices of Wilson and Wilson, man. We open 24/7, man. Yeah.
I wrote that.
I'm saying it right now. I'm saying, and not just them. We got another Brown in the building. We got VB3. I played with his daddy, Vernell Brown. I played with his dad. Khalil Jackson is back, the son of Willie Jackson, the nephew of Terry Jackson, the grandson of Willie Jackson Sr. And we might have, I don't care, we might have the best running back room in the SEC.
You're not the only one thinking that. You're not the.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Trayon Wells graduated. All I'm saying is it's a lot to feel good about.
Yeah.
I think the thing about Billy Napier is we were expecting quick success, a quick turnover. That's not how college football is. Definitely not at Florida. But we ain't hiding from nobody. And I remember talking to Graham Mertz this time last year. He was saying, Ben, listen, man, we understand that people ain't going to give us a lot because of what we didn't do the previous year. But DJ Lagway, man, shoot, this kid, man, this youngin'. It's hard not to be excited about a player like that. And no greater sense of confidence. Listen, we got players decommitting from places, man, asking out their NILs to come from, man. Billy Napier, say whatever you want to say about him. Recruiting, well, he one of the best out there, man. He knows how to recruit, and health going to be the main thing, and we'll see. We'll see. I know that when it comes to the SEC, everybody going to give credit to everybody but us guys in Gainesville. But, fellas, I haven't been down there to see those guys in person, but I know, got you guys, got guys like Lauren Meadows, over there, Gator Baby, telling me some different stuff. And he said, Ben, this receiving core, he said, you just have to, he said, our backups are good enough to start, right? And he goes, but Trey Wilson is coming back to prove a point. He has a point to prove. He has a boulder on his shoulders. And I can't wait, man. I'm excited to see how this offense is going to look. I'm not going to lie to you guys, man, because it's like we already know what we got at running back, right? We already know what we kind of had at receiver and the guys coming back. I'm just going to listen. I'm going to do my best to keep calm. It's just May. I appreciate.
You're not doing well, Ben.
No. I'm saying, listen, I've played on teams, Riche Caldwell, Andre Caldwell, Jabbar Gaffney, Taylor Jacobs, Carlos Perez. You talking about Kelvin Kite. IDBs. I don't know if we got a Keywan Ratliff over there, but I'll take one. Any one of y'all want to be a Keywan Ratliff clone? I know y'all done had Keywan on here. Let's do it, man. I like the fact that we got a bunch of veterans coming back that understand what it is to play at Florida, that understand what Coach Billy Napier is building, and they all believe in DJ. All of them. Offense, defense, special teams, kickers, equipment man, trainers. They believe in DJ. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you believe in DJ? 5 stars last year, 5 wins.
This is the biggest thing that people have been saying too, because you'll have your trolls that'll like to point to the stat sheet for certain games, but then you got other voices, not myself. I mean, people outside of that are outside of the program saying like stats don't tell you everything, and it goes to just that of how the team kind of flips a switch when DJ's on the field. But speaking of defense too, Caleb Banks just got nominated for the Lot Impact Trophy Award, which is the best defensive player in the country. For next year, which is awesome, obviously. Somebody who didn't play the spring game, mind you, somebody who was a massive keep coming back. And these are things that I keep referring to, too. And we'll get your thoughts on the NIL era here in just a minute. But, yeah, again, what his DJ's impact on the field is so much bigger than sometimes a stat sheet can pick up.
Absolutely, man. I don't know what Coach said, man. He said stats are like bikinis, man. It shows you a lot, but not everything, right? Shows you a lot. Doesn't show you everything. So,
incredible.
It does. I just think for DJ, right? I don't think he's a stats guy. I just think that, I think that DJ wants to win because you look at what he did coming out of high school, Gatorade National Player of the Year. I mean, crazy numbers with what he did. I think for DJ, the greatest thing happened to him was 2 things: playing early and having support from Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz supporting him when he got hurt. Graham Mertz did for DJ what Felipe Franks did for Kyle Trask. When you have a starter and say, look, man, I got hurt, but I'm here for you. Like, I'm rooting for you. That stuff goes a long way. And no matter what, I just remember go back 2 years ago when DJ was coming out, everybody said, we're going to lose him in recruiting. He's not going to come to Florida. I go, I don't believe y'all. I don't believe y'all. And when DJ got here, he said, I'm going to help get some of these guys. You don't think that DJ Lagway on this roster make guys want to play here? Guys like, man, people literally saying, where DJ go? Man, he at Florida. And the biggest thing about last year, when we lost to Georgia, everybody kept saying the same thing. That DJ kid played. That DJ kid played. And that irks. Now, them boys, Mathis, they won. You give them the credit. But the team rallied around, DJ getting hurt. And we was in that thing in the 4th quarter, man. Like, we played some inspired football. I just want to know, can you beat us when everything is even? Like Michael Jordan say, it's easy to talk trash when you winning. When you up, can you talk trash before we kick it off? And for me, I like it. I like the fact that I know you mentioned that we finna get into NIL. I want to say 98% of these guys got NIL deals or something like that. Ain't nobody bickering about who's signing what. NIL is
everyone's signed now, I believe. There was a time where there was a report that 98%, but there was like Gregory Smith, Bryce Thornton, those guys are kind of still out floating around. They've all been retained, and then we went out and got a couple as well, too. So we should be at 100% of the guys that are on the roster have an NIL deal.
And to me, that's just showing, look, Billy Napier knows this. I got to dominate in recruiting. That's what the world look at. And I got to dominate in NIL. That's what perception looks at. Hey, man, how are you doing that? Don't worry about how we doing it. Just know that we doing it. And we ain't making the news. Yes, we had a player that made the news, and then obviously they're dealing with that, right? But in the NIL era, they want to know how many you taking care of, coach? Oh, 100% of them. You know who that's talking to? Future Gators. Oh, you come here, we're going to take care of you. Now, taking care of you is going to be something different for everybody. It's going to be something different for everybody, right? But sure. You know how you get a future player to fall in line? Current players fall in line. You get the current ones to do it because they're going to say, hey, man, don't be no outlier now. We handle business. We handle your business in the offseason so we can handle our business when the games count. When the games count, we ain't talking about NIL now. Now, right now, it's a slow news day. I get it. We in the NIL era. But here at the University of Florida, man, we're going to take care of you. And everybody's number is going to be different. We get it. But you said but most of us going to be making more money than our parents ever seen.
Yeah.
So and with that being said, you want to come to, because we getting back to the days that people get to say, you want to come to Florida or not? Coach, what's the number? You want to come to Florida or not? We'll discuss numbers when you sign on the dotted line. That's how you recruit. I'm not gonna promise you anything before then. And that's what I like about it.
So you're a fan of NIL then? I think I always like to ask the old players kind of their perspective.
Yeah. I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it for this reason. players are smarter now, and players understand what they're doing as far as like help, as far as like the revenue they're helping bring in. Now, I'm not saying that you're not gonna have disagreements. It's not a perfect science, but it's like this. If NIL is here to stay, Coach Billy Napier understands, dude, we got to get on this train, man. The last thing we want to do is seem like we trying to, go on this thing begrudgingly. No, we get it. Because what is mom and daddy gonna say when you go, we understand? Yeah, you going to Florida, we understand it, where he's ranked, this, that, and the third, or whatever, right? Yeah. We got DJ Lagway, right? What? We got DJ Lagway, yeah. You want to come play with him? Yeah. Okay. Like the University of Florida, that's a negotiating chip. DJ Lagway is a negotiating chip, right? Playing in the SEC is a negotiating chip. Being the flagship school in the state of Florida is a negotiating chip. So once you get to that, we can get to the numbers. Because think about this. No matter what they want, it's not that Florida can't pay it. It's, all right, we know what you want. What is it going to take to get you to say, yeah? That's negotiation. Negotiation we all sitting at the table walking away with what we both can agree with. And I think, and think about this. You know why DJ Lagway never had to worry about it? Because he's going to get whatever he wants because he's good for business, both NIL and Florida. If you talk about NIL, to me, NIL is rooted in one word, name and image leverage. The more leverage you have, the more money you get. So if you ain't getting the money you want, you ain't got the leverage you think you got. You just don't. I mean, if you don't believe me, ask Arch Manning. You think Arch Manning got the money he got because he's Arch? No, his last name is Manning. That's leverage. So
can I get an amen?
My nephew just signed to go to Kennesaw State, right? He doesn't have an NIL deal yet. You know why? Because he ain't got no leverage yet. He was like, oh, you think? I said, what have you done? What have you done? He goes, well, I said, where's Richmond Hill, Georgia at? I know where it is because you're my nephew, right? So then I asked him, I said, who's the starting quarterback for Florida? He said, DJ Lagway. That's leverage. He knows who DJ Lagway is. Oh yeah, I know him. And if I ask DJ, who's the starting running back for Kennesaw State? I don't know. Then I asked my nephew, who's the best running back in the country last year? He said, Ashton Genty. Where he went? He went to Boise State. That's leverage. And that's what name recognition is leverage, right? The Rock. You know what I'm saying? Listen, hot top sport. Leverage. And I had to learn that when I was at Florida. Right? I had to learn that when I was there. So if I had to have leverage when I was there, that ain't changed now. And Billy Napier knows no matter what, man, we hold all the cards. Why? Because we don't control how much money they get because we ain't the one giving them the money. That comes from the collective. And shout out to Gator Collective and all these other people that's helping them get their money. But I'm the head coach at the University of Florida. Do you want to play here? Yeah. When they start saying, Coach, how much is it going to cost? I don't know. Because if they ask you for too much, hey man, we gonna win with it. We gonna win with or without you.
I like the leverage part of it. Because again, I think that's huge where a lot of these kids are having to learn is like, look, like it's not a guarantee where I think some of us are kind of arguing like, hey, we would love to kind of get to a cap to where there's a salary. Kirby came out and said it where your rookies shouldn't be making more than your seniors. You had the Jackson Cantwell kid come in and get a $2.5 million deal. To me, you really didn't you utilize the leverage of the game, but I don't think Cantwell had leverage. I think he leveraged what was happening that, hey, I'm a 5-star tackle. Tackles are needed, so kudos to him for taking advantage of the system. But I don't believe necessarily he himself had the leverage. He himself didn't have the likeness. No. But that's what has to get fixed. That's what has to get fixed.
Yeah, but understand this. The only way we're going to learn how to do it is by making mistakes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mistakes that we make in it is going to show us how to do it better the next time. So some of these kids are benefiting with just being a part of it early. Because there are no guardrails. It's almost like this. Listen, man, if I'm out there in Arizona with the Autobahn and there ain't no speed limit and I'm in a car that can go 200 miles an hour, I'm going to hit it. Now, by the time the speed limit hits, I'm going so fast it looked like a tree. I ain't see it. I went by too fast. I mean, we're on the Autobahn. So I say that to say when it comes to these players, right, you have to approach it like this. Look, giving you something and giving you what you're worth, that's two different things. What you worth is based that they both rooted in perception, because like you say, that's why you don't really like the 4-star, 5 stars, because what really decides who was who? DJ Lagway was the Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, period. So So whatever he wanted, you're gonna hear him out. That doesn't mean you're gonna get the kid that's supposed to go to LSU that went to Michigan, right? It's because he was the #1 recruit. What do they both have in common? Quarterbacks. Who become the faces of these colleges? Quarterback. Who was the face of the NFL? A quarterback. So I get that parallel. I get that. Travis Hunter had to play both sides of the ball every snap to win the Heisman. That's the difference. He had to play both sides. So I think that for Florida, what we just did was this. When you get everybody in-house what they want, because they agreed to it because they signed for it, that's incredible, man. Because that means, you mean to tell me you just satisfied 85 players? Yeah. All of them? Yeah. Because when you start talking, because think about it, we're talking about players that may never get out there. They may never, not because they're not good enough, it's a number game. So I'm willing to give a player something that all I ever seen him do was on the practice field, in the weight room, in the meeting room. He never got out there.
I think that's what these players, some of these players don't realize too, is that look, like you think you're trying to kind of cash in. We're taking a risk on you too. This may not pan out. These stars, they go away as soon as you get here. Just because somebody's telling you that you're worth something doesn't mean that you actually are, or that you'll live up to what your worth is.
Yeah.
I do want to get your thoughts though before we let you go. Obviously Napier gets a ton of criticism. We've been talking about that, and you've alluded to how he's managed this and how he's handled himself. But the biggest question mark, again, I think a lot of us are continued in the chats there now. Look, I think they have a point to it, is his in-game managing, right? I think that's the big question mark going into next year, is the talent. There's always kind of been the excuse that, hey, the O-line was a little wonky here. There's injuries here. There's something we can kind of always point to, even though there's other glaring signs offensively, right? And how Napier handles certain in-game situations. How do you think he comes into this season and overcomes this situation that we've been dealing with, or been hearing about, or seeing him, that people are concerned of?
Because then everybody look at himself the same way he'll look at a player, man. He better show growth when it matters. Because and the reason why I say it is this. The same way we're watching a player either mature or not, we're watching a coach do that too. But the reason why we watch Billy Napier more is because he called the plays. Most of the time we just looking at, you should have called a timeout right there, man. Or, that's bad clock management or something like that. Well, you calling the play, which means you are deciding the tempo. So for me, I want to see growth in real time. Meaning, if fourth down is not something we do a good job of, stop going for it on fourth down. Like, stop doing it. Not because the players want you to do. We all about efficiency. That's not if we're not getting, and call vertical plays. Don't do these horizontal plays. That's too long of a throw and hope that a player, break a tackle. And the biggest thing I think when it comes to Billy Napier that I'm going to be looking for in 2025, man, listen, man, poise, man. Like, it's one thing when you don't have the players and we're going to give you that out. He don't have everybody. He's not going to get that in 2025. No, you got him as starters and backups. You got him as veterans and newcomers, right? And I get you had some different coaches. I believe you got, and I mean this humbly when I say this, I believe you got players good enough to overcome bad coaching this year. You got players that good. Because sometimes, fellas, it has to happen that way. There are plays that are made because our players were better than theirs.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just happens that way. I believe you got
I was thinking about this today. You hit it spot on the head. And I said, I'm thinking about if I'm in this position, if I'm Napier, myself, right? I go, he's been on the hot seat the last couple of years. But this hot seat has had a little bit of maybe a hot pad on it to kind of keep it a little bit. The hot pad was maybe the players weren't there. We gave them the out that the recruiting wasn't there. There was multiple reasons the schedule was the gauntlet, right? We're headed into this year. The seat's still obviously hot given just the circumstances. I was like, but now it's hot in the right ways. The expectations are higher than ever. It's not just turning it around. It's like you're looking around. It's like you better go do the damn thing, Billy, because everything is looking like the schedule. Sure, it's scary, but you're kind of looking like a big bad wolf in part of that schedule now. You've got talent that's got everybody going. Coaches would be licking their chops to coach this team. And I'm thinking, like, I almost feel like it's more stressful now if I'm in his shoes. Before, it was like, we're going to come surprise everybody. Now everybody thinks we should be good. It's a different kind of expectation. We'll see how he handles it.
Real quick. It's funny because, the hot seat got cooler as he won the games towards the end of the year. But, man, if you repeat this, it's going to get even hotter towards the end of the year. So you better do something this year.
Of course. Listen, everybody think coaching is hard when your team isn't that good. No, coaching is hard when your team is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when it gets hard because what they say, the only thing lead to disappointment is expectation. They say the thing about the best teams in college football, perception and reality, they live in the same house. Both perception and reality in there, right? Most of us is just perception, man. Some of these schools ain't never done it. All they got is perception. Our reality is we've seen it. Most schools ain't never seen it, never tasted it, never touched it. We could be Oregon. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Always got a great team, great offense. But you sometimes, I'm just saying, you saying to yourself, dude, I'm tired of losing to the winner. Florida has been the winner. So much so that people get to say, hey, man, why was Tim Tebow on the front cover standing right next to DJ Lagway in the 2026 cover?
He
Well, that's the
ain't
second time.
he ain't played in 20 years. Exactly.
Because the logo means something, right? And the thing about it, you telling me, didn't Quinn Ewers go to back-to-back semifinals and Graham Mertz got drafted over him? I'm just a guy that was hurt got drafted over a dude that went to the semifinals. So I just think that this year, Billy Napier, all I'm saying is this. It won't be because your team will not be the scapegoat. It's really gonna be, okay, you got the quarterback, you got the offense, you got the D-line, you got the front seven, you got the secondary, you got the special teams, you got the running game, you might have the best center in the country. Period. You might have the best O-line. Coach, yeah, it's on you, man. Because
lights are bright, baby.
It's on, and to me, that's what Spurrier wanted. That's what Urban Meyer wanted.
I was just about to say that, though. You come coach to Florida because you want that. So, look, in the real thing is, like, look, like, you can't shy away from it. And I kind of settled in. It's like, look, I think the way that Napier's handled himself through a lot of these trials and tribulations, I was like, I mean, if there's a guy that's probably prepared and okay, doesn't have the bubble guts like I do right now, just thinking about it, I think it's gonna be him. I'm excited to see how he's gonna deal with it, man. It's gonna be fun.
Listen, listen, I'm excited about it. If listen, Coach Napier, not to compare the two. Everybody kept saying, you give Ty Golden the players, he gonna win it. He got the players, didn't he? What happened?
I think he won.
Because he was already ready coming from San Francisco. But guess what? People kept saying, you know how many people said, wait a minute, that's Florida's third one? So some people have forgot that fast. Like, yeah, man. People say true. Do you think that Florida is a blue blood? Don't care. We a gray blood, though. We might not be a blue. That's fine. We a gray blood, though. That's it. What's the gray blood? You got to mix it. You got to mix it because only 3 teams in the SEC that won national championships in basketball. That would be Florida, Arkansas, and Kentucky. Who shut down the three-peat? That was Florida. They told UConn that we ain't doing it. Y'all ain't doing it. And now when you start talking, I want Billy Napier to know what it feels like to win a natty in Gainesville. That's what I want for him. I don't know if it's going to happen in 2025. I hope it does. But for me, I would tell Billy Napier, boy, with as much pain as you go through, boy, you at least want a ring, right?
At least taste it.
Yeah,
get taste that gray blood. Ben, tell them where they can find you, man. This is always a pleasure for you hopping on here and giving us the gospel. you got to stand up and.
I've been
man. At being 284 on all social media platforms, man. Just listen, it's always a pleasure to come on with you guys. You guys are definitely guys that I respect in this industry. I know how crazy this platform, these platforms can be, especially when, hey man, no one cared, right? When we wasn't winning that many games, right? Everybody want to laugh at Florida, right? We get the right guy in here, we start winning games. Oh, so now they mad. They mad. Well, if you mad, stay mad. And listen, y'all trolls, we truth tellers over here, even if we bias with our truth. You don't got to like it. And somewhere Steve Harris is right. Somewhere Steve Harris is outside of his house arguing with a Florida State fan. Steve, don't save your breath. Don't argue with them. They're crazy people.
Ben, you're incredible, man. Thank you as always. You're always welcome. Hey, and if you want to come join one of our watch parties and cut it loose, you let me know. You're always invited.
And listen, man, y'all got to sell it. I'm gonna have to come down. And I'm only gonna be safe with y'all, because me and Steve standing together, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to us. I can't fight. I just look like I can. But I will,
That's half the battle. That's half the battle.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Ben. Go Gators, man.
Appreciate it.
Incredible stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Troop joining the show. We got one more guest here joining us here in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. A couple super chats though before we get Mr. Westphal in here. I do want to give a couple shout outs and a shout out to Jesse Rowland. I believe gifted 5 high top memberships, which is awesome, man. Thank you, Jesse, for showing some love and giving some lucky people some memberships. And then High Top Rook says we roll and go Gators. $10 from man High Top Rook, baby. Let's go. Let's get it. Boys and girls, almost 300 strong. You know what to do. Smash the like button, subscribe. Go give our man Ben Troop at 84 Reasons on X a follow. Make some great content. I know he's teamed up with the Victorious team. He does a lot of great interviews. Like he said, he spoke with Mertz last year. He does a lot of great team interviews like ourselves, but different perspective, different questions, obviously played for the team. So great interviews he's always pumping out. But let's dive into it, boys and girls. Let's get Mr. Westphal in here. Really excited to pick his brain, talk about how he's feeling about this team. Mr. Westphal, man, good to see you, man. Appreciate you joining us.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, guys. Good to be here. Thank you.
Yes, sir, man. Well, look, we had I'm sure you remember we had your son on, Fletcher, probably about this year last time, if I'm not mistaken, shortly after committing. Phenomenal young man, excited to see what he's going to be able to do. Man, how you feeling about this team heading into this year and obviously your son going into his second season?
It's been a journey so far. Definitely a lot of growth. Fletcher has matured. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten stronger. His football IQ has gotten a lot better too. So, and everything he tells me, the team as a whole in the bigger picture has the buy-in. So, people are there because they want to be there. That's the core message that I've gotten from him. So, it's been good so far.
Yeah, I mean, anything that I've heard from, I guess, from the parents that we've had on pretty much resonate the same thing. They say, hey, look, we got players that want to be here. And I think that, and we've talked about it on the show, I think that Billy Napier, when he came in here, I didn't really care much for the last head coach because I figured the culture was going downhill before he left. And then Billy Napier got here and he inherited kind of a little bit of a culture mess, I would say. But from what he's done from years 1 to years 4 has been night and day. And I think that's the biggest thing that Billy Napier has done here since he's been here at the University of Florida, along with recruiting. And look, I mean, when you set a good standard, you set a good culture. And obviously, you have players that want to play for a coach. Those are going to have other kids that want to come to the University of Florida to come play for the same program. Because right now, I mean, with NIL and everything else, it's crazy. It's a wild world out there. I mean, you've got kids that are going to schools, obviously, that maybe offer them the most money, whatever. But I mean, some schools taking a lot of transfers. You don't know what you're getting in. And Billy Napier really does his homework, and rightfully so. And I'm grateful to have somebody like Fletcher and all these other players that we have at the University of Florida. It's really cool to actually be able just to be a fan and see the changes that have happened too.
Absolutely.
I do want to get your thoughts on this, Chris, man. With obviously you watch your son. For those that don't know, Fletcher came in as a 4-star offensive tackle, one of their highest rated tackles and just linemen in the Napier era. We've been critical of the offensive line recruiting over the last couple of years. The development has been, I think, is really starting to pay off now. But he comes in last year, and we're hearing a lot of great things this offseason of him having a true impact going into next year. How much is it, obviously Fletcher just doing what he does, but also the development side of things? Have you seen that of just his transformation outside of football and then obviously development side? How's that looking for him?
I mean, everything I keep hearing the same things too. As you know, we don't get to go up there and see the practices a whole lot, but everybody's been telling me he's been doing great. I think that has a lot to do, obviously, with the coaches. They ride him pretty hard. This isn't he's out there for a picnic. He gets yelled at. He gets he gets pushed really, really hard, and he's got to respond because there's a lot of expectations on him, and he knows that. And he knows he's also part of something pretty elite there. Being a Gator is an important thing, and he doesn't want to let the coaches down. He doesn't want to let his teammates down. He doesn't want to let himself down. I think he's got some good influences. Austin Barber's been great. Jake Slaughter's been phenomenal. They've embraced him and wrapped their arms around him and make sure he's part of what's going to be the future there. So,
Cool.
everything's been good. I do wish I could hang out on the sidelines a bit more and spend some time up there. But we'll wait. We'll wait for the football season to start.
Talk to me about that, man. Just being a dad. I mean, I'm a dad myself. Got the second one on the way. Watching your kid last year too. I know he got in a couple of times. How was that for you? Just seeing your baby boy run onto that football field. How are emotions rolling, man?
Um, so if you ask me or you ask my wife gets a little bit nervous. She's always concerned. But so here's the funny thing. Clearly back in high school, Fletcher was a very large individual out on the field, and he was easy to spot. When we go to the games and we show up, and we trying to look for him, we just can't look for the biggest guy anymore. So we actually have to look for his jersey number amongst the sea of, there's 6'7", 6'8" players that are
That's
there.
true.
I mean, Gators are massive. They are some big boys there. Clearly he's been fed well. He's been worked out well. He's got the infrastructure, the strength, the abilities, and it's really up to him. So, clearly we never want to see anybody get hurt. I tend not to worry so much about that when he's out there. I want him to make good plays. I want him to be clean in what he does. I want him to, do his best. So, and so far we're seeing a lot of that, in that bowl game against Tulane, which by the way was my alma mater. And so
That's cool.
Everyone's asking who are you rooting for? I'm like, that's a no-brainer. Gators all
Tulane.
day.
I'm just kidding.
And
Dad
Fletcher
shows
played a
up
lot
in
of
a green wave jersey.
and Fletcher played a lot of the fourth quarter there, and I think he did quite well. He had some good plays in. He looked good out there, and he definitely he got his tackles in as expected. So was happy. Proud father all the way. And from my perspective, this has been a great experience as well. I'm part of an inner circle that doesn't get to. A lot of people don't get to see what I get to see or experience what I get to experience as well. So I'm also very grateful and glad to be a Gator parent as well.
Very true.
Yeah. We're obviously great to have you on this show. I was actually excited. I was like, finally we get together, because we tried to work on this for a month and things got in the way, but finally we were able to get that through. And obviously you've seen Fletcher grow through the Florida Gator program. We don't get to see we hear a lot of stuff about Billy and all that, but we also don't get to see like kind of how he is, the kind of guy that he is behind the scenes. Is there something that maybe Fletcher has told you about Billy that maybe people don't know about, or maybe something about him in the program somewhere, something like that maybe some of those fans don't know, but we see just what we see on the television screen? Obviously we don't see it, but is there anything he's told you?
For Napier, no, nothing. He doesn't give us much insight on that. Although I do want to say something about the Gators, and this is actually a big part of the decision why Fletcher picked Florida. Was the Gator Made program, the player development. So as you guys know, it's not all about football, or for most people, it's not all about football. It's a big part, but the Gator Made program and the kind of the doors that's been opening and the investments they've put into the players that are part of that, that's really important and shouldn't go unrecognized. Because honestly, that was a huge part of the decision process, that, the overall investment for everything that they do. And again, you got to give Napier the credit for that. He pulled in Savannah from Clemson, kind of gave her a blank check and said, make it happen. And she's done some incredible things there. And I think that's also a big part of why the team has gelled nicely as well, because it gets them in a different kind of an environment, and they can grow as individuals as well. So I just want to throw that out there, that's been a really good growing part of Fletcher and the team as a whole, I think.
The Gator Made program it's a program that it kind of gets laughed off from a fan perspective because it doesn't really follow the NIL. It's not the flashy side of things, right? But I've talked to a handful of parents, and we've heard coaches' interviews, and that seems to be a common theme of like, hey, this is actually a really great and cool program. And again, as a parent, you understand that hey, like football is obviously a big priority, but you've obviously lived a little bit longer, and you can see that hey, there's life after this. And a lot of current players that I speak to realize like when life's going at you fast, and you don't have that leadership right to help you see that there is something after this to help develop that process, it can be a bit scary. So these are big things. And if with these kids, especially with the NIL era, it's more important than ever to be able to learn how to navigate. What Game A program, guys, for those who don't know, it's showing you after football, or if you don't even get to go that long in football, how to attack careers. They go to events and whatnot. So it is a fantastic program. I think it's great. I loved it when they talked about it, and I love hearing yourself bring it up even more, and how big of a recruiting tactic, I guess you can say, it genuinely is.
I mean, I would argue they underemphasize it. It should be brought up front and
Wow.
center a bit more during the recruiting process.
Interesting.
And as you know, when we did our recruiting, we went to a lot of places. Fletcher had a lot of interest from every place. And, the spreadsheets that we put together, ranked everything from, the coaches, the teams, the food, right? How much did each team invest in the cafeteria and the annual kind of food budgets? To the size of the beds that were in the dorms and what kind of apartments that they have, but also the player development was a big part of that. And at the end of the day, on our perspective, NIL wasn't even a factor that went into the decision, because if all the other pieces lined up and were what you wanted them to be, the NIL or the related interest would come with that.
Work itself
So
out.
the focus,
Yeah.
NIL is the wrong focus for a lot of folks, I believe. It's not just about the money. It's about, growing as an individual, as a player, and getting the best resources you can get. And if somebody someplace is willing to give you an extra dollar, is that going to be worth, the other things you're not going to get? And I think that's some of the messaging in the recruiting process that they should emphasize a bit more, is that, there is a huge investment that goes into the players, and it's not just the football, it's everything that goes around it. And would love to see that promoted a bit more. And of course, the team will speak for itself. We ended last year pretty good. This year we've got a lot of promise, and I think we're definitely gonna have a tidal wave coming here soon, for a lot more.
Not a green wave though, just a tidal wave.
Green wave, not a green wave. No.
I do want to ask you about last year, because I was going to. I'm glad you mentioned the kind of just how last year finished. As a parent, going through last year, right? That experience, obviously you hear the noise, you see it. How are you going through that? How are you dealing with that? What was your mindset week 3 of like, hey, was this the right call? Was there a little bit like, whoa, this is intimidating. This Gator fan base is crazy. Or were you like, hey, trust the process?
I had to err on trust the process. Obviously the first couple games were a bit rough.
Yeah.
And and yeah, Gator fans can be pretty subjective.
You could say it. It's a safe place.
Pretty suggestive, but that's the love, man. That's the love. But we had to trust the process. Remember, Napier had to undo and unravel a lot of things that were left to him, and that doesn't happen overnight. And all of the pieces started to come together, and he was able to execute his vision. Now everything's in place, and I think he kind of saw it. It all kind of aligned itself the way it's supposed to, about halfway through the season. So the beginning part, it was a little bit rough. It is what it was. But we'll grow from that part, and keep our fingers crossed. But I expect that this season we'll be hitting it hard. We'll be hitting it powerfully. I think we'll be certainly on the winning end of more games than not. We'll see how things progress. Again, it is a little bit of a harder schedule than most of the other SEC out there, but I think since we've already been through it, it's kind of, we've already faced worst case scenario, right? So, hey, it's only going to get better and easier from here, but keep keep our nose to the grindstone and keep things moving forward. No distractions in that context.
Yeah, and I think that's what you kind of try to look for in a head coach. It's like, yeah, you could probably walk into, maybe if you want to call it a disaster, whatever name you want to call it, maybe you walk in as your first year as a head coach. Is it a downward spiral that it's going down, or is it on an upward trajectory? If you look at the win-loss column, you'll say, okay, well, it looked bad from the beginning. Now it's starting to trend up a little bit. So now everybody's excited, of course, for 2025. You got Lagway, you got all the pieces. We talked about it with Ben Troop. Obviously, Westphal, who's been doing really well. I remember sending you an article from Corey Bender that's been saying he's been doing really well in practice. So I always try to keep up with the parents, send them good articles if there's something going on. But I want to go back to the Gator Made program, and I thought that you said something really good there. And I think what's really good about the Gator Made program too is it sets them up for the future. Like, you, in this day and age of NIL, I mean, these kids are getting lots of money. Some of them are getting like bukus of money, and a lot of times when you're young, you want to go out there, you want to spend the money. Nobody really thinks about investing the money. Like, you take an investment, okay, take a piece of the money, invest it in an S&P 500 or something like that, and then let it grow. And I think that's what the Gator Made program does really, really well. And you talk about the recruiting process of it, of Fletcher choosing Florida over all the other programs. I really just, in general, want to know, man, what is that process like? I mean, you're flying to all these different schools. I mean, do you take off of work for that? I mean, how does that work? Because it's gotta be strenuous to have to like fly to Texas, to fly to Alabama, then fly somewhere else. I mean, I look at like all these visits that some of these high profile kids do, and I'm like, how do they do all this? This is insane.
Well, Mom is a great planner and coordinator. Of course, United Airlines and Marriott love us. I think we got to. Did you know there's a titanium level at Marriott?
No. Are you a titanium member?
Yeah.
Shout out Fletcher.
Yeah. I mean, all that was a lot of it was for education, because it's in the early days, people had asked us, "What are you looking for?" And the short answer is, we don't know, right? So every place we visited, we saw things that we didn't like, right? So everybody had the shiny new workout facility, the incredible locker rooms, the chefs in the cafeteria, the dining halls. There was a lot of stuff that was part of that. So the thing is, we looked for the stuff that we didn't like, the things that didn't fit in, the things that weren't going to work for us. And they may have been different for some people. I won't mention the university, but one of them, which it's a great university, when we kind of mandated, we had to go see the apartments, the dorms where the players were. And this one was a shared dorm room, my old school kind of stuff, the beds are up on lifters so you can fit all your storage stuff underneath. And, there was at least a bathroom, a sink in this room. But, so I'll say one thing. Football is hard, and not everything can be hard. You don't want to come back after a long day and go back to your room and you've got, your roommate staying up to 2 a.m, playing games or talking to his girlfriend or making noise. Or that, you want to be able to cook some stuff and there's no cooking facility, or that you need quiet time to study. So not everything can be hard, right? Something's going to give. And so what we wanted to do is make sure out of all of the items that we looked at, we could minimize the other things, let them focus heavily on football, and kind of simplify all the other things. How far did he have to go? One school, they wanted you to take Ubers to the facility or take the campus bus. Like at 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning, you're going to get up, stand there. In this place that had cold weather, while it's snowing, and expect to get over to the facilities that are 3 miles away. You're like, that doesn't make sense. So small little things like that have a huge impact on quality of life and experience at college and how you're going to perform as a football player. So we tried to reduce all of that when we looked at these places. And that's why several of them, we went to I think we went to Georgia 7 or 8 times. We went to Virginia Tech probably 6 or 7 times.
They could afford to use Uber. at Georgia. I had to get it. I'm sorry. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Well, it's not about the affordability. It's about then that's another thing you got to do. You got to plan in the morning. You got to call up an Uber. You got to have it waiting for you, and that's just part of the process, right? So it just complicated the thing. So every place we visited, we looked at, okay, do they check the standard kinds of things? But what are the things that don't get checked? What are the things that are going to be detractors? And that's really what happened. We picked the school that kind of had the least amount of detractors from the decision making process. The things that we got, like I said, we didn't know what we wanted. I couldn't give you the list of the things because everybody,
Sure.
in the early days had that list. So that's why we quickly realized it was the things that we didn't like that kind of drove the final selection.
It is very interesting. That was a kind of a cool. Are you an accountant? Like you're very analytical and dialed. That perspective is it's unique. I actually really appreciate it because for someone like me who is very quick and just fast, I wouldn't think about those little things adding up. Right? Again, of just as soon as you leave the football field, like how much of your life is actually after the game, and how much of this can impact what happens during the game, what the reason you're coming here. Yeah, again, just a simple place of like, hey, my quality of living is going to impact everything. How well I'm performing at school, my diet, my workout, getting to and from places. Is it accessible? Is it easy? And in a way, I do that. In a sense, how I set my room up, like people laugh when they come in. I have 2 switches and all these lights turn on. If I have to come in here and plug in something every single time, guess what? This show's not going to happen because I don't have the patience to plug everything in. So to simplify the stuff that annoys me, I take a day or two to simplify that. So I guess I can kind of relate to it. You just don't know what it is until it's annoying you every single day. So for you to notice, hey, this stuff's going to get annoying. You just don't see it right now because they're trying to blind you with the shiny stuff. Let's take a step back. That's huge.
Exactly. And the shiny stuff, everybody's dangling the shiny stuff in front of you to say, look at what we've got, do all this stuff. And you do have to look past that. It's funny, even during the recruiting process, we asked them about the weekend charge cards, so if they don't provide them food, they give them the extra supplement for going out and purchasing their own foods. And, I kind of said, well, do the offensive linemen get more on their cards than, is there a way to, it's funny, every once in a while, Fletcher will go to McDonald's for breakfast. He likes the McGriddle sandwiches there. A meal at McDonald's for breakfast is $45 for Fletcher.
Good.
So the $15 they put on the card for the weekend, for a weekend day, that doesn't even buy half of his breakfast.
You said a McGriddle? How many is a couple McGriddles?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
More.
I was like, I know the tariffs are bad, Chris, but what kind of McGriddles is he working with?
So Fletcher's a foodie. Fletcher likes his food, and Fletcher, besides the McDonald's, he won't eat garbage food. He doesn't eat snacks. He doesn't eat crappy food. He'll only eat good food. And he eats a lot of it. And so good food can be a little bit more expensive, because it's easy to go out and buy crappy food and get filled up on that stuff. But he eats a much better diet. And so one of the things that we realized, mom and dad realized going into this stuff, we would still have to supplement a lot of his kind of protocol to make sure he got the right food, had enough of it, and it was easy for him to get to it, and whether it was prepared or whether he's got to prepare it for himself to make sure he has all the right things in place. Because again, sometimes he doesn't get home till 9-10 o'clock at night from some of the things that he's involved with. And, the last thing you want to do is, right, either eat another takeout or, eat cold leftovers. And so kind of we've got arrangements to make sure again, it's not one of those things that's a deterrent. It's easy for him to eat some food. He's got it available. His freezer is stocked full of meats. His refrigerator is always full. He's got everything that he needs there.
I love it.
So if Fletcher's birthday is coming up, can we buy him a big fat head that's just like a McGriddle? Put it in his room.
He'd rather have a tomahawk.
Well, there you go. But that's really cool though. You were very, very articulate, careful, in Fletcher's decision. Obviously, he was too. I'm sure Libby was as well. Shout out to Libby there for doing everything that she can through the recruiting process as well. I know she's not on the show, but I'll give her a shout out real quick. But I think it's really cool that you were that articulate, to me as a Florida Gator fan, I'm just like, wow, you really visited all these schools. You looked at everything, and Florida was the choice. So now the everything school is even more than an everything school to me.
No, it actually is. It's gotten better since we've been here. So, I mean, I think the total number of trips we took was something like 90 trips.
Wow.
And we saw a lot. We saw a lot of places. A lot of places. And I think overall he had a little bit north of 40 offers from pretty much all D1 schools. So we were able to see a lot of different things and look at things from a lot of different perspectives. And I mean, when it came down to the final five, or really the final four, we knew we were going to move closer to where he was, not right up on top of him, but into kind of vicinity. We could be a couple hours away from the school, and when you start looking at real estate and you're looking at the cities and you're looking at the infrastructures that are around, let me just say, I'm so happy he picked Florida. We're down here, down in St. Pete, Tampa area, and we're just loving it as well. So, we moved from Northern Virginia, sold our house, drove down, brought all of our stuff, and moved in. And it's been about a year and a half now, and we love Florida too. So just as a parent being down here, I can't say enough good things about kind of the environment we're in, and just how much we love the Florida lifestyle and everything that goes with it.
Great area, St. Pete's gorgeous. Got a buddy down there. It's a long drive for me. It could be a little. That's not to Gainesville. Not too bad to Gainesville.
No, not to Gainesville. It's really about 2 hours, door to door. We live right off the interstate, so we go out and make a right. We're on the interstate. 2 hours later, we're exiting Gainesville, and
pick up McGriddles, a couple of them.
And we get the McGriddles.
I love it. Well, Chris, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Always great insight to kind of just get another perspective of the recruiting process. This was really great insight on how you approached and how your family approached the recruiting cycle. That was great to hear, and kind of how the ebbs and flows of through the seasons, man. We really appreciate you coming on and sharing these stories with us. Very much appreciated. Do you want to tell them where they can follow you on X? I don't know if you want the fan base to follow you, but if you do, you can.
Yeah, actually, I don't even know my handle off the top of my head. I don't know if it's C Westphal 65 or Chris Westphal 65.
I got you. I tagged
it should
you.
be in the place.
We tagged it. It's at Chris Westphal 65.
65, yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody is still kind of on a decision making process, where they're going out looking at different schools and kind of seeing and comparing what's out there, drop me a note. I can give some input and some advice. We still talked. Some of the folks back where Fletcher was from, I still talk to some of the parents there, and just kind of say, look, focus on these things. Don't worry about these other things, or, ask these questions. So,
I think just for parents in general that are looking, everything that you just said is wherever they go is massive to look for. Like I'm thinking about my game. Yeah, like you said, all of them have great facilities. All of them have these things, but which ones really go the extra mile? Because good, NIL is cool. But NIL isn't going to fix if you got 3 crappy roommates. NIL isn't going to fix if you're sitting in the cold. Sure, you can buy more Ubers, but if you're, like you said, like that, I mean, those are a lot of things that I think
adds up.
They add up. Yeah, great insight.
Yep, cool, and I appreciate everything you guys do too. So thanks for all the coverage you guys are doing, and for the continued Gator support. This is it's part of the big family here.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the support and the appreciation. Sometimes we get a little crazy, but we like to have a good time and some fun. So,
absolutely,
Chris, man, you be good. Tell the wife we say, hey, we appreciate her because we know that she's grinding. And if you see Fletcher before we do, tell him, hey, and McGriddles on him because I'm not buying $45 worth of McGriddles. He's got breakfast.
Now I got to try one now. I haven't tried a McGriddle yet. So.
I'm kind of interested now. Yeah. I'm more of a sausage McMuffin guy, but
Me too.
might have to slap out a McGriddle. I don't know.
Sounds good.
See you,
All right,
Chris.
guys. Thank you. Have a
Yes,
good
sir.
night.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Bye.
Chris.
Awesome stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We had fantastic guests so far. Shout out to Swolder for locking those in. Those were great interviews. Just
Yeah.
two completely different scale of the spectrum, which was awesome. If you've been here the whole time, you've been in for a treat. A lot of great insight there. During the off season, it's great to have these conversations because there's not much going on. But today we had a little bit of busyness going on over the last couple of days. Like I said, I've been off. We've had some busyness, but let's do this. Let's talk about this. We talked about this already, but I really want to hammer this thing home because we really need to make sure that we make this thing as big as possible because coming together with some great content creators and Stadium and Gale and Gators breakdown for Independent Gator Media Day. Now, that's not the only ones that are going to be there. We're kind of the three putting this thing together. We're trying to get more involved from a Gators media perspective side of things. I know some On3, some other beat writers will be there as well. Some Gator greats will be there, like Harris and others. Maybe we talked to Ben Troop. I don't know if I think we may have already talked to him. I can't remember. However, for the ones that are listening, we're throwing a massive Independent Gator Media Day, July 27th, which is a Sunday at the, where is it? Magnitude Brewing Company in Gainesville, Florida. Going to be awesome. Going to have, I think, a couple, like 3 hours starting at 1 o'clock, have like a panel, then individuals, and then signings. We're trying to get a multitude of players, current players there as well. Really want to make this thing a annual thing that we do after SEC Media Day where we can come together and we feel and we believe the reason why putting this together that this logo, this brand carries a ton of weight, that we can go and have our own SEC, aka Gator Media Day because of how big the fan base is and how much it supports it. So the bigger, the better, because then we can make it even bigger and better the following year and make this thing really special for the fans. So the link is in the description. It's $25 to come in and hang out with us and do all those great things. There will be more details of what to truly expect, but just from what I've told you, I mean that should be a reason to come and hang out and a good excuse to come to Gainesville and hang out with the boys.
Yeah, and if you were a big time show or podcast, like I like listening to Gator Nation podcast. They're really analytical. They deep dive. I like listening to them. If you're any kind of Gator podcast or independent, come contact me, Shelton, Silk, Dan, anybody, Dave, Gators Breakdown, anybody that wants to come out, come contact us because I've got a long drive down to Gainesville, but I'm going because it's going to be nice and it's going to be great. So I'm pumped. I'm ready. It's not even game day, and I'm pumped about Independent Gator Media Day.
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely exceptional. But look, it's kind of like the Collins show. It don't work if y'all don't come. I mean, we're doing it for everybody, so make sure you guys pull up and show up. All right, let's talk about some good news, some great news across the board for Florida Gators. Major returns across both sports. First being with Dijon Johnson, that was being asked about. We hadn't heard anything. It was radio silence. But today, Napier said, hey, he's back on campus. And the best thing I loved about it is that it was very simple. So look, we're going to handle internally. There will be some disciplinary actions that we're going to handle, but that's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. We're moving on. And I felt like that was what was expected to happen. We first saw the article. I was in shambles because of the charges that were being laid out. I was like, this he's done. He's going to jail. Like if they were to say as is, he was going to jail. But very quickly, it was not anywhere near what was written about. There was no substance. The gun wasn't his, and it basically just went to he maybe went through a stop sign, and that was about it. So it sounded like he handled it and handled himself very well. And look, here's selfishly, right? I was very concerned because of how much impact and his what he had last year. When we went and looked when this all happened, his PFF rating, how many snaps he had. I want to say he was the second highest snap DB that played last year, just obviously due to injury with Devin Moore and Jason Marshall. So a massive impact in that DB room alongside what's going into next year with Kermani McLean and Devin Moore and these young guys coming in. He was going to be a major factor to what is being considered a thin room. If he wasn't going to play, this thing was going to be ultra thin. So fantastic. And look, non-selfish reasons. Great news for this young man to not have his life completely stripped from him of what could have been a massive, horrible decision. So, love this for Dijon. Love this for the Gators, and especially love this for me because he's back and I can sleep a little bit easier.
Love it for me too. No, I mean, there's obviously a human element to that. Nobody wants to see anybody go get arrested for something. obviously, that I guess they didn't do in this scenario or whatever, or one of their loved ones. But at the same time, as a fan, you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, okay, well, we've already got this situation in the quarterback room, safety room, all that kind of stuff. So you add that to the mix, and some of the, I guess, the off-season drama and everything else like that. You know, cops, they pull you over, whatever. They originally charge you with something, but that doesn't necessarily mean when it gets to court or anything like that that is what you're going to get charged with. But come to find out, they found out further details about everything. It's not as bad as first reported, so that's good news. Obviously, there still is, I guess, some misdemeanor charges that they'll have to deal with at some point. But he's pleading not guilty to it, so maybe there's nothing there. But
The fact that he's
you know,
back on the team, it's going to go to court. There's going to be things that are handled, but it's nowhere severe. The severity of this is nowhere near what it could
right.
be or what people might even think that it is. I believe they've already done their due diligence to say, okay, hey, this we got to handle it. We're going to take it internally, and we're going to do our part. But this is no need to be kicked off the team. Maybe he sits out the first half of the Long Island game, which is plenty enough for me. You're good. Hand slapped. Maybe run an extra couple stadiums, and we'll call it even on our end.
I'm going full Long Island on Long Island.
Okay, all right. That was good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not as bad as everybody thought it was at the beginning.
Nowhere near. The other great news is, which we thought, shout out to Neil Blackman, kind of teasing us a little bit with this one, but this is just more icing on top of this big fat cake that we've been chomping on this offseason. This Gator basketball team is Alex Condon set to return. No NBA draft for him. That means everybody who flirted with leaving said, listen, home is home, and home sits in Gainesville. And this team, by golly, boys and girls, I don't think you're going to get the odds that Brandon Olson got this year with taking Florida to win the whole damn thing. Maybe early on in the season you can, but you got to think they're going to be a top 3 early favorite, if not the favorite, when this thing busts wide open to win it all headed into next season, just with the sheer firepower. And there's been some tweets. There's been some eyeballs. The boys may not be done, Swolder.
Yeah, there's a name out there floating around, and I think Neil Blackman.
Hey, they boys like it from down under, okay? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm
Yeah.
going to say.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Everybody knows anyway.
On the
Even put
barbie, okay? Shrimps on the barbie with this one. I don't know if that accent works, but you know what? You get if it works, okay? Because we know what I'm talking about. So
You're gonna be Australian now.
yeah, I'm trying. It's not really working. It's not really
Do
working.
you remember the Foster's beer? Australian beer.
Remember, you act like it's dead. I mean, who doesn't know a good Foster's beer? That thing isn't a beer. That thing's a cannon. That thing is a.
It is. It is. Have you ever had?
No, I like myself. I haven't.
I never had it either before. That's
No.
why I didn't even know if it was still around. So
If a beer is that big for that price, it's like anything in life. Like if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. Okay, so that's all I need to know when I see it. All right, and look, nothing against my fellow Australians. I love those guys to death. But
you know what the best thing is though, because like I was on X earlier today. I gotta call it X now because it's not Twitter, but I'm
yeah,
still
it's
calling
really
it Twitter.
Twitter's definitely died. I've been calling it X too. I feel like I was the last one holding on. I think I've moved on too. So
I still call it that. I'm old school, but like I looked at the comment section of like there was a bunch of guys saying that like is Florida going to repeat next year? Will they make it to Final Four? All these salty fans underneath the comment section like, nah, they're not going to make it, because they're all pissed off because they didn't get who we got. So
look, it's still gonna be tough. Like don't get it twisted. I said it last year. I'll say it every year. The March Madness, it has madness in its name for a reason. It's madness. I mean, Duke was by far one of the best teams in college basketball last year, and they fell just short. So there's a lot of things that got to go right. A lot of balls got to bounce your way. And we saw that with our team last year. So a lot of people could argue that the Florida team shouldn't have been there, but hey, you lost.
That tournament, you go through a gauntlet. So yeah, I mean, and of course, balls have got to drop in your favor as well. And I don't mean that like in
You
the
wouldn't know
nasty
about
way.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some Florida football here for just a moment, boys. Let's two little things here. Anonymous coach. We always get these quotes every year that come out. I wonder if I remember if my brain is triggered correctly. The anonymous coach last year, I don't know who it was anonymous, had less positive things to say about this Napier team or in Napier as a whole. But this year, the vibes are much different. Lagway could compete with Arch Manning for the best quarterback in the league. Lagway and the offense line and that offensive line are legit enough to bring back a true Florida offense. They can stay in the hunt for a playoff bid and start scoring points like the old Gator program. I think Napier will be off the hot seat for a while. Two things here. We'll break it up into two sections. I mean, I love that they think that Lagway and the optimism for Lagway being the best quarterback in the league. I don't like the comparison to Arch, and that's not me hating on Arch. I just feel like there's guys in this SEC league like Lenora Sellers and Garrett Nussmeier who are more proven, who have done more in this league that, in a way, it's as of now, I would say they're the 1 and 2 guys that it's because of what they've already accomplished. Like, those are the ones that Arch and DJ are trying to take it from. We're crowning guys that haven't shown as much as those two. But I was thinking about this conversation a lot too, man, especially how he kind of broke this team down. We've heard Ben Troop talking about it, but just a lot of the things surrounding it. And I don't want this to come up the wrong way, but it's like we don't even like. I feel like last year we needed DJ Lagway to be the best he could possibly be to make this team excel, right? I still think he needs to be great, but does he need to be just absolutely play out of his mind? Maybe later on in the season, yeah. But I think, and if this is how I view Napier's team and how he's built it, and why some people get frustrated. I saw someone say he's like a barbecue, low and slow, phenomenal comparison, because that's kind of how he is. He has his way of doing things. He doesn't want to live and die by that, although he's had to. I don't think he wants to. And I think that he's built this offense to be able to thrive in multiple areas. And Lagway is just now going to take it to another level, is the idea. But yeah, look, I think it just kind of this. What's interesting is this quote, this anonymous quote. If it comes 2 months ago, I think it's flashier and sexier and has a punch to it. 2 months after it, right now, we've been talking about it a ton. You've had the Cole Kublix now kind of start to beat the drum a little bit. You got a lot of the media starting to really think this team can go and win 9 games. This quote doesn't have the same oomph as it may have 2 months ago, but I still love it. I mean, if there's any, optimistic views coming from non-Gator fan base or non-Gator media, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like the comparison to Arch Manning either. Like, now, if Arch Manning goes out there this year and he completely plays out of his mind, then I'll believe the Arch Manning hype. I just haven't seen enough. And there's people out there that says, hey, I haven't seen enough out of Lagway either. That's
Sure.
fine. You throw for almost 2,000 yards in half a season. I mean, as a true freshman, I would think something there. But of course, they're going to always bring up the interception numbers. But as Ben Troop said, hey, it's more than just the stats when you look at it. And, you got to also look at how it got there. And a lot of those interceptions were deflected anyway. But like, when you look at the tape, you can clearly see a true freshman that is maybe inexperienced in the offense just because he hasn't been there long. But you see where there's the elite factor. And I've been starting to read some of the Will Miles and Nick Newton's magazines. Shout out to them. I mean, the yards above replacement numbers compared to other quarterbacks, all sorts of stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, maybe he came in and maybe he made some mistakes as a freshman, which most freshmen do when they come in. But I mean, this kid was already playing better than Nico. I'm a leave over to UCLA. I mean, the kid only threw for 26.06. He had almost all of that in just half a season. So it's like, okay, if there's hype, it's there because of what he did in half a season. Now you got all these weapons. You're in year 4, so you got all your guys. You're Billy Napier. You're in year 4. You got this big-time 5-star quarterback. It's time to put the pieces together. And I think that's the thing with me when I look at it is like, okay, the pieces are there. You got to put the puzzle together. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and go undefeated and win every game because it's hard in this day and age in NIL and everything else, but you got to show us something to where you can at least make it to a playoff with the talent and the caliber of this team. Now, if there's tons of injuries, I get it, but that's why you recruit and you recruit depth. So I'm in the, okay, this is the year that it's got to happen. Like, you've got to put all the pieces together because if it doesn't happen, then you go into next year, you'll still have Lagway. You got some positions to fill, whatever. But I don't know, man. I'm a little excited for the year, but at the same time, I'm trying to tempt my expectations and just kind of roll with what's going on and see how Lagway does in his second year because he's going to be better, but how much better will Lagway be in year 2?
Look, again, as I go back to, I say, if he can be healthy and honestly, in a weird way, just bring what he brought last year. I think that's where the excitement is because if you look at what he was able to do last year with less injuries, et cetera, all those things, the team won. team was undefeated. So if he does just that, if he does exactly what you saw, if you got the DJ Lagway you got last year on top of what's surrounding him, I think that's where the anticipation really grows. That's where the excitement truly, genuinely should fire everybody up. Of he doesn't. I mean, again, obviously you could always take a step back, but if he just doesn't do anything at all, which I think that's not going to happen, but nothing at all, we just get DJ of last year. This team they won 6 last year. With DJ, with how DJ was last year, with no experience, with less playbook, with injuries, with all those things, with less talent around him. Now you're putting more around him. You're putting more knowledge. You're putting healthiness around him. You're putting a year under his belt.
Yeah.
Scary. Scary in a good way. Scary in a good way. And now we're also kind of transitioning into the other part, which Ben Troop talked about it a little bit, but just more info on his progress with the shoulder. He's throwing 3 times a week. And not much to it. I don't know if, what he was supposed to be throwing. Is based on what Billy says, is he's right on schedule. So, look, I think that we don't care as much about the story anymore because all we cared about was him not throwing. We want him to throw a ton of balls, right? That's always a factor. But who knows what he was throwing this time last year? You know what I mean? So it doesn't really, it's irrelevant to me. I'm sure they have him pitch counts when he's healthy. I'm sure that's just like anything. So he's making his progress. He's doing his things, which is all good and fantastic news for me.
Yeah, and then you have other teams still trying to get transfers in year 4, like Mario Cristobal.
All good news. All good news. All right, boys, let's dive into our fun little segment we've been rocking and rolling with. And look, this segment's been so good. I'm working on some other segments that we're going to continue to roll out. We're growing this thing like an absolute weed and doing the best that we can. So I appreciate y'all support. Almost 300 people strong in here all night long. 123 likes. Smash the like button. Subscribe. Let's get after it. All right. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 voicemails. The fact that we've had this many voicemails week over week, just 3 weeks into this, is awesome. So I love it. Great idea once again, Dave.
We might need a show just for the voicemails. Just to get through
okay.
them all.
Let's not get carried away. But all right, let's get into it. First one. First order of business. Let's kick it.
Hey guys, love the show. Just wanted to say, as a Gator living in Tallahassee, I have a lot of connections with the FSU athletic department. I've worked with them a few summers now.
Okay.
And my old boss, who is close to the program, I won't say his position, told me that there would be no way that Norvell got fired. And he said they could go 2-10, but he would not get fired due to the fact of how great of an ambassador he is for FSU. What's your all's opinions on that? Go Gators.
I don't know what to believe, but that's funny.
Of how much of an ambassador of FSU, like how much, I guess how much of support he's shown for FSU. I just think his buyout is too big. Is why they wouldn't fire him. I don't see it. I think if he goes 2-10, the noise would be so egregiously loud that he would be you can't go 2-10 again.
I mean, they're already struggling in NIL wise, and I think that's because people are just not wanting to put up the money because there's like, look, we got a big buyout.
If it's 2-10, I mean, the recruiting had one good recruiting season under him, and he backed it off of a good year of football. That recruiting fell very quickly. A lot of those guys are transferred out. This is kind of a big shot and a hope and pray kind of season. And look, here's the thing. In a weird way, Norvell might have hired his replacement in big old Gus. I mean, if there's a guy that you're going to pass the reins to, at least you know you've got a proven championship coach that you can go to an intermediate coach for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if you thought that one through, but if there's a time to get rid of your guy, it would be because you do have Gus Malzahn backing up. Like if you go 2-10, there's no chance. I don't care how great of an ambassador you are. I don't see it happening. I think your connection boss might be a little disconnected. All right, we got another one here. 2 minutes, guys. This is supposed to be like a hot take, not a hot read. So we'll see how long if this is good. If it's cooking, we'll let it ride. If not,
Hey, iTop. Happy Memorial Day. I was actually just giving you guys a call because I just happened to stumble across, DJ highlight reel. And I was like, love to see my boy do his thing, of course, last year. So we clicked on it. And don't get me wrong, guys. I love 4 of our 5 lineback coming back. But like some of his highlight plays, in fact, a lot of his highlight plays, he is under so much pressure, man. Like he's doing a lot of these things, these incredible things, on his own. And, it's like, well, yeah, he's DJ Lagway, and I get that. But, I mean, granted, and I am very excited that 4 out of our 5 people are coming back. But just seeing the amount of pressure he's under on his highlight plays was kind of like, man, we it kind of goes back to, just us needing to step up on O-line anyway. But, man, we got to step up for this guy, man. Like, and they are potentially better run blockers as opposed to pass blockers. I don't know, Shelton, you could probably answer that, and I would look forward to that. But yeah, sorry for the ramble. I just seeing this. I mean, I literally just watched this clip or this highlight video, and it's just like, God damn, like this guy's under pressure, like fucking 60% of like his highlight throws. So hopefully that gets fixed. Love you guys. Been a big fan for almost 2 years now. So
awesome.
Appreciate what you guys do, and yeah, man. Just hope you have some kind of answer to that. Something, but otherwise, go Gators, baby. National championship next year, man.
Awesome call. Yeah, drug out a little bit, but it's okay. That's how it works sometimes. Look, yes, I mean, if you look at the PFF ratings, a lot of these guys have a much better run block rating. And I think the running backs showed that. And you're not wrong. There was some concerns of just the pressure. I think it improved throughout the year. At times, it had its moments. But yes, those are some concerns for me. And again, we say this, hey, the starting 5 is coming back. Those guys played together last year. One of those being Jake Slaughter. I think he was much improved. Barber, I think still has. I'm super excited for Barber. He has a lot that he's got to get rocking and rolling. Right tackle Brandon Crenshaw was a much better run blocker, if I recall correctly. Damian George, a much better pass blocker. So look, there's going to be run blocker as well too. So those guys are definitely going to have to step up that area. I think there's a factor into it where, you've got DJ who can move around the pocket and make the pocket more mobile than what a Graham Mertz can do. That plays a factor into it as well, and understanding who's behind you. What are his tendencies? All these things, I believe, do play a factor as well. So just comfortability in the pocket, I'm hoping that improves it. But that has been some concerns that other people have mentioned I've read in the comments of like, hey, there has been areas of concerns with this O-line that we're returning that Shelton, you're so excited about. You're not the only one. I didn't get a name, but you're not the only one. Great call.
Yeah, I'll also add to that like if you look at a lot of the highlight plays he did have under pressure, at least he made the play while he was under pressure. On top of that, like a lot of teams knew that Lagway was hurt. He wasn't mobile. So a lot of those people were bringing a lot more guys, or they were bringing 1 or 2 extra guys on each play.
You could play a little more aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, and you watched that LSU game. He was really clutch in those sort of scenarios. Obviously, he had to throw them away a couple of times, but like, in certain scenarios, I mean, he was getting it to Badger and all sorts of players when he was under pressure too, and then he would get it to the tight end. And look, you want to see that out of the quarterback. Obviously, you don't want to see a lot of pressure on him, but I think a lot of those pressures that DJ Lagway was facing last year is the fact that the teams knew he was hurt and they were just coming after him because he would have to stand into the pocket and he couldn't take off and run.
I think wide receiver plays a factor into that, the ability to get open. So the talent's increasing there. The Ole Miss game, I was at that game. I do recall him having more time than normal. I felt like, hey, you got all day. Yeah. There just wasn't anything down the field. So he had to go and do something. So look, great observation. Again, it is highlights. It's a reel. It's a couple of seconds. So keep that in perspective too. All right, let's get it.
Hey, Sheldon. I really enjoy this part of the show. My question,
yeah, dang it.
They lagged out.
Call it twice.
Maybe they were trying to use a AI voice program.
Oh, no, she messaged me on Twitter. She said she was having issues. Let's see if I replay it.
Maybe it was just a lost
They're probably dying.
A little bit of reverb there.
Yeah. I love it. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, nothing. Awesome.
Hey there, High Top Sports. This is old Coach Kurt Napier. Of course, we watched the show, and we just wanted to say one thing. Florida State, you suck balls.
Oh, no.
Guys, I don't think that's Coach Kirk. Could be wrong. I talked to him. I don't remember sounding like that, but great call regardless. Great call.
Yeah, I just listened to your voicemail. Sounds pretty weird. Anyways, I just want to talk about Nico. I'm about to leave you. I was listening to the Rob Taylor show, aka Carolina Jackpot. I was listening to their show, right? Some guy called in and talking about don't bully Nico. Don't bully him. He's a little kid. He can't make his own decisions, man. I am so sick and tired of this. Like, your generation has such a big. Y'all have this thought that Gen Z, fucking millennials, whatever you want to call, that they're fucking soft. But you got a fucking guy in there saying, "Oh, his fucking daddy has to tell him everything that he needs to know." He lost fucking money going to UCLA. Man, this shit, look, like, no, for real. Like, it's actually true, though. Nico's a fucking...
All right.
That guy's losing it, man. He's losing his cool there.
I love it.
I think the gist of it, man, is Nico's complaining and all that, and he's making all this money. I think that was
I get his anger. I get his anger because he sounds like he's my age. And my millennial group, we would always get tagged by the older generation that we were soft and that all these, we're the trophy. We got trophies for everything. And back in my day, like, we get irritated. And that same guy that used to probably make fun of us now old and a little bit softer is like sticking up for Nico. I think that's where his frustration is coming from. And I kind of agree with there's times when I get irritable where people are like that. And now I kind of find myself in that same boat. But this new generation, I don't think they're soft. I think they're a little cuckoo. But I've also learned not to criticize each generation because it kind of gets old. It's very easy to attack the old one or the new one, just because they're going through different things, they're experiencing different things, they've got more eyes on things than we ever have. But I think that's where his anger is coming from, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can finish it. It's just like, bro, it became like an F-bomb fest. I don't know.
Idiot. So was the fucking dad.
Oh my God.
So was the guy that called into the fucking Carolina.
He's hot. He's going through it.
Jackpot show. Bully him to a fucking million pieces. Who the fuck cares?
Is that it? Did you pause it?
I did.
I don't. He's making millions of fucking dollars at 19 years old. Who the fuck cares?
Incredible call in. Next time, let's just tone down the Fs, just like one or two F, but like it was that was great. That was great call. Great take.
Wow. I fear for the rest of them.
Yeah. He bring bullying back, I think was his message.
Hey, look, we appreciate the call in, but please try to chill on the Fs because this is kind of a family show.
That's like $25 in the swear jar is what he said.
What's going on, Shelton? Hey, man, this is the Georgia Gator. I'm here. I'm in Sparta, Georgia, way up here in Georgia in the dog country, man. Look, I got a couple of takes on the Florida Gators this year, man. And what make y'all think LSU gonna beat us? They sucks too. They terrible, and we whooped that ass last year. But hey, on some pressing stuff, man. Look, I'm a Georgia Gator. And I'm a Georgia Gator recruiter, man, and we got some guys up here in Lincoln County, Georgia, my guys, some personal guys that I coach. Jonathan Norman, he's a scholar athlete. We need to get Chaluk on him ASAP. And we got a guy up here named Kelby Glaze. His father is a Gator fan. We need to get Chaluk on these guys. I'm telling you, super fast. Placed second in the state in 100 this year. And my guy, Aiden Jones, already getting D1 offers as a freshman from the Georgia Dogs. So we got to get on them, Jalou. Please get this out, man. We need my guys. We need my guys in Florida. And always, man, go Gators.
Go get. I love that he took this time to pitch his guys. That's incredible.
Hey, look. Hey, if you find me, you can find me at High Top Dave on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it. Send me a message. Send me those guys. I can hook them up with some kind of camp or something at Florida.
There we go. Now we're working.
If they're good enough, they'll earn one.
My take with the LSU thing is, look, I don't agree. They do suck too. I think just their ability, they show some explosion. Playing at LSU is more what concerns me. I mean, that place is a gauntlet. Napier's team on the road, that's another hurdle that they have to learn how to jump. So shout out to Jesse Rollins, 20 gifted High Top memberships for the phone call. Yeah, incredible stuff. I love it. All right, we got one more here.
Hi guys, it's the Gator Man here. Just wanted to give my hot take. I think Florida wins at least 9 games this year. This is easily Napier's best team since he's been here. Go Gators, love the show.
There it is, Gator Man. 9 wins, baby.
That's my guy Lucas, man. Call him in.
Oh, that was Lucas?
Yeah, that's Lucas.
Hell yeah.
That's my
Shout out Lucas, man. Great take, Bubba. Good. Thanks for calling in, big guy. We have one more that called in just now. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you guys. Loving the show. I'm a Gator in Georgia, and I get a lot of grief about Georgia and Florida. And I was just wondering what you guys think about the Georgia-Florida series this year.
A lot of Florida Georgia fans, man. That's I loved it. I'm excited about it. I out of the big ones, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. I always look forward to it, but you always kind of have like last couple of years like it's gonna be a fight. But I think that look, they always come to play, but this team's got something to prove. There's a little bit of animosity left over from last year. There's some guys that were part of that squad with the ETN drama, obviously with DJ going down. There's blood there, and this is what makes college football great: is you're able to go back and try to redeem yourself. I'm very excited about that game and making an impact. And look at that LSU game the same way with Jack Piper. I think there's going to be some personal executions waiting to happen for that game too. So, and this team has definitely, I think, done a great job of stepping into that arena of wanting to punch the opposer in the mouth, right? Or punch the rival in the mouth. They've really embodied that, which I love. I mean, George comes at FSU. We did it with Ole Miss and Princely. We did it with ETN at Georgia. It didn't pan out the way that we wanted it to, but we've done a good job of approaching those things. So those things excite me.
Yeah, I mean, this team, especially the way that Billy Napier, as I said, changed the culture and all that, this team ain't afraid of anybody. I mean, you go back to Dan Mullen and his time there, it's like, okay, yeah, you could call offense, but what else could you do outside or inside of the field? You really couldn't do anything. Like, so I feel that this team, especially this year, revamped, refocused, especially how you ended the year last year. And as Ben Troop said, they're all behind DJ Lagway now too. So you got to think, man, if there is a time for this game to be the best it's ever been, it's going to be in 2025. And as I said, I live in Georgia. I don't like the Georgia Bulldog fans at all. I see the G everywhere I go. Anytime I wear anything Florida, somebody makes a comment. Of course, they didn't make any comments when I was wearing my national championship basketball tee because they didn't want to talk about basketball. They just want to talk about football at the time. So I think it's time to shut those mutts up, man. I think we're going to do it this year.
I love it. Fantastic show. A little long one. We were going an hour 40 mark. This thing was cooking, to say the least. But boys and girls, I appreciate y'all hanging in there and chilling with us. Smash the like button, subscribe. We'll be here next Monday live at 8:05, and the following Wednesday, Dave will not be here. He's going to be on vacation, so we're working on a special guest. I'll let you know once we get that rock and roll. But y'all be good. Stay safe. Till next time, that's Swolder. I'm Sheldon. Peace and love, baby.
Peace.